Hey, welcome to Fret to Fret. I'm Ben. What is a scale? We'll find out coming up. Okay, so what is a scale anyway? I mean, technically a scale would be defined as just any series of notes that just happen to sound good together. But that's all subjective, and you could search the world far and wide and find some pretty interesting things that people would say sound good together, right? Well, today's video we're going to be focusing primarily on major scales. So what is a major scale? Well, you could learn every single major scale in every single note, every single position, everywhere on the fretboard. And I think you should. I think you should know all of the notes. I think you should know all of that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to make it easy to understand. So in music, guitar, sometimes we talk in terms of steps. We have whole steps, we have half steps. So a whole step, for example, would be from G to A. That would be a whole step. Another whole step would be A to B. That would be a whole step. From B to C, on the other hand, that's a half step. Same thing with E to F. That's a half step. Okay, you start to add sharps and flats in there and it gets a little wonky. But for this, we're trying to make this as simple as possible. So, what is a major scale? A major scale is really just a series of steps, whether it's half steps or whole steps. It's just a combination of all of those things. So for a major scale, the formula is going to be whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's going to be the major scale. Wherever you play it, wherever you put it, you're going to play the same thing. So let's prove it. Let's look at G. Let's start in G. So make this easy. We play G. G to A is a whole step. A to B is a whole step. B to C, half step. C to D, whole step. D to E, whole step. E to F sharp, whole step. F sharp to G is a half step. So we just played whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And that gives us the G major scale. Let's try another one. Let's prove it again. Let's try an obscure one this time. Let's try B flat. That's kind of an obscure one. So B flat. If we played first fret on the A string, that gives us B flat. So we go B flat to C is a whole step. C to D is a whole step. D to E flat is a half step. E flat to F, whole step. F to G, whole step. G to A, whole step. A to B flat is a half step. So B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat will give us a major scale. Okay, and that works anywhere on the fretboard, wherever you put it, as long as you're following that same pattern, as long as you're following the same formula, you're going to get the same result. A quick couple tips just to keep in mind when you're practicing your scales. And by the way, you should be practicing your scales on a regular basis. It should be a part of your regular practice routine. Tip number one, be deliberate. Don't just fumble through your scales. Don't just, don't be doing stuff like that. Make it deliberate, make every note count, do everything you're doing on purpose. So for example, when you practice like a G major scale, you're going to be going and doing it deliberately, doing it on purpose, making every note count, making sure every note's accounted for. Tip number two is practice with a metronome. This is important, and I think this is something that not a lot of people grasp early on. I think they just don't realize how important a metronome is, and it really hurts them later on in life. But for example, like that. So just set your metronome up. That was at 100 BPM. You could set it, practice it, one click for every note, and just go through it up and down and just go through it. Spend 10-15 minutes just going up and down your scales. As you get better, it's kind of like lifting weights. As you get better, as you improve, as that becomes more of a second nature, more of an instinct, speed it up a little bit. Try speeding it up 10 or 15 BPM, and just keep going with that and keep progressing. And pretty soon you're moving up and down the fretboard really, really fast. Tip number 3, and this is going to be kind of counterintuitive to what I just said, but practice really slow. Don't think that speed is the key to getting faster. I don't think that speed and going fast is the key to being accurate. Actually, the key to being accurate is going really, really slow. So slow it down. If you think you're going too slow, go a little bit slower and just practice those scales over and over again. Practice them all the way through. Put the metronome on a really slow speed, like and just practice really slow. Drill that into your head. Just go up and down really slow and build up your speed. Over time, you'll be able to play that really fast, but you'll never get there if you don't start small and just be methodical and be deliberate with what you're doing. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Keep practicing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.